Yeah, everyone's already getting up their reviews for Star Wars The Last Jedi, and here I am finally getting up my spoiler talk for The Disaster Artist. This is why I will never be famous. The Disaster Artist is a biographical comedy that stars James Franco, Dave Franco, and Seth Rogen, amongst some other actors as well, that's also directed by James Franco. Now, this movie is based off of the book The Disaster Artist that was written by Greg Sestero, and it is about the making of what is considered the greatest bad movie ever, known as The Room. Now, I have never seen The Room, simply because, I heard it was a terrible movie, and I don't go out of my way to see terrible movies, although I have heard The Room is, one of those, it's so bad, it's good, you can watch it to laugh at it and make fun of it, but, again, just never really felt the need to see it. Personally, I really hadn't heard much about it before The Disaster Artist. A little bit here and there, but not enough to really know what The Room was. I don't know, maybe I've been living under a rock for who knows how long, but that's just me. That being said, when I saw the teaser trailer for The Disaster Artist and I saw who was going to be involved with this movie, immediately I was like, yeah, I want to see this. I have watched that teaser trailer so many times, I'm pretty sure I've lost count. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, that teaser trailer was fucking hilarious, and you know what else is fucking hilarious? The Disaster Artist. From the opening scene in The Disaster Artist, I knew I was in for a really good comedy. In the opening scene, you see Greg Sestero, played by Dave Franco. He gives, the scene, and the director, well, the teacher of this class, I should say, she criticizing him. He goes back to his seat, and then James Franco comes out, who plays Tommy Wiseau, and his performance in the acting class is completely absurd and ridiculous. Completely overly dramatic. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's funny as hell, and of course, everyone's looking at him like, what the hell is this? What is this guy on? Greg, on the other hand, approaches Tommy after the class, and he's like, dude, I gotta ask, you go up there and you have no fear. That's something that I really struggle with. You gotta tell me your secret. What do you do? And Tommy says something to him like, you can't hold back your fear, Greg. You gotta just go on stage and be yourself. You can't be afraid. Who cares what people think of you? And, the next day they meet together in a diner, and Tommy and Greg, they act out a scene together, and Tommy's making Greg be very overly dramatic in front of all these people, and, Greg's very nervous to do that because I think anyone would be. But the scene's just hysterical because Tommy's coaching Greg on how to act, on how to really project himself, and when he sees that Greg does have acting ability, he's just all like, wow, you all see that? You see the smile right here? You got free admission to that. Come on, round of applause. He was great. He was great. And that right there is where the friendship between Tommy and Greg officially begins. And touching on performances real quick, I gotta say this right now. James Franco as Tommy Wiseau, it's the best performance he has given to us since 127 Hours. This dude straight up committed to this role. I didn't see James Franco anywhere. I just saw Tommy Wiseau. James Franco, he was hilarious. He was passionate. You could really see in filming that The Disaster Artist was a story that he wanted to do justice. Tommy Wiseau was someone he wanted to do justice, and he absolutely did. He's so committed to this role. It's seriously though, Tommy Wiseau's accent, I had never really heard this guy speak before, so I had no idea what he sounded like. The whole time, James Franco's doing a Tommy Wiseau impression, and seriously, it's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Greg, you and me, we're gonna be stars. I want you to take my pinky, and we're gonna promise each other that we're gonna push each other, we're gonna motivate each other, and we're gonna take over the world together. It's gonna be great. Oh, it's awesome. It's so good. But I also gotta bring it up. James Franco and Dave Franco, they have great chemistry together. I've always wanted to see the Franco brothers do a movie together. They never really did. I understand they kind of just wanted to become their own actors first and foremost, but the two of them crushed it in this movie. You really bought Tommy and Greg as best friends. You buy, their friendship growing, their reasoning to want to help each other. And it eventually does reach a point. They decide, you know what? We're going to become actors. We're meant to be in movies. We're meant to have our names in bright lights. You know what? It's time to move to LA. You and I, we're going there, and we're gonna become stars. So, they're both, meet with a few agencies. Tommy Wiseau, he really doesn't have success with anybody because, people just see him as who he is, which is kind of a nut. And then Greg is able to land with one agency. You can't really help but wonder if, they're really trying that hard for him. He's really not getting any work for himself. At one point, Greg and Tommy are, questioning themselves. And Greg at one point is just like, I wish we could just make our own movie. And then Tommy brings up the suggestion, it's like, why don't we? I got a shit $1 zillion just sitting around that we can use. So yeah, Tommy comes up with this brilliant idea for a movie that is The Room. He writes a script, shows it to Greg. Greg's definitely a little uncertain with it because he knows it's like, this doesn't sound like for a great movie, but Tommy's really pressing, oh yeah, it's gonna be a great movie, offers him the role of Mark, and the two of them decide, alright, let's pursue this project. And from here, they literally buy equipment to make the movie instead of renting it. They bring in guys like Seth Rogen to help with production. They hire a bunch of different actors and actresses for the different roles. And now the rest of the movie is the making of The Room. And seriously, from this point forward, the movie just gets better. First of all, the comedy doesn't stop. There are still moments throughout this movie that are just hilarious, but what's so interesting is just seeing how a movie as bad as The Room ended up being made, because you can really see it in the actors and the crew. None of them really believe in this project. A lot of them are just, they're filming these scenes and, they're working with Tommy and they're just thinking to themselves, this is going to be a dumpster fire. But you see in Tommy Wiseau, he was so passionate about this project. He really wanted to make it work. He so felt that it was a great idea, that it was going to be an amazing movie. It's really amazing to see the passion that he had for something. I mean, did the movie turn out great? No, not at all. But you really respect seeing what this guy was ready to accomplish for his dream. The movie's ultimately giving that little lesson. It's like, pursue your dream, stop at nothing to accomplish it, no matter how big it might be, or absurd. But then obviously we then get that scene in the trailer that we've all watched a million different times, where, Tommy has to, come out onto the set and he just has to say, I did not hit her, it's not true, it's bullshit, I did not hit her, I did not, oh hi Mark. And after, I don't even know how many takes, this is what we finally got. I did not hit her, it's not true, it's bullshit, I did not hit her, I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. That's why I love that clip that's gone viral on YouTube of that scene actually happening. It really was the end result because that's all they could get out of him. But it is even at this point, you do see the, not really darker side of Tommy Wiseau. You see a more, I want to say, negative side of him. And not really negative that he was being a downer about everything, but negative in his personality and the fact that he was definitely being a dick to people at the time. I mean, he's not really doing his job as also the writer and director to The Room. He can't remember his lines. He's always showing up late. I mean, Seth Rogen is basically the de facto director of The Room. He's not really listening to suggestions from anybody. He's just doing what he feels is right, what's going to make the movie more dramatic and suspenseful. And just the things he says to some of the actors and actresses. There's one scene in particular where he's supposed to, do that sex scene with one of the actresses and he notices a pimple and he freaks out at her and he tells the set to get the pimple off her because she looks so disgusting with it. It reaches the point, even Greg's starting to see it a little bit. He's like, yeah, you know what, Tommy, you're going a little too far with this. And Greg's even beginning to feel that, Tommy's gonna hold him back because at one point, he had to grow a beard for the movie. And, at one point he ran into Bryan Cranston, who was working on Malcolm in the Middle at the time, and he offered him a small role in an episode, which Greg thinks it's huge, thinks it's going to help his career, but Tommy won't let him do that because there's a point in the movie where they have to shave the beard, and he refuses to, postpone that shooting for, one day just to help Greg. And finally it just reaches a point, Greg and Tommy, they're just, they're playing football, like they used to back in the good old days, but finally Greg just freaks out at him. It's like, you know what, you're a dick, you're selfish, I don't even know where you're really from, I don't even really know how old you are, I don't know where you get your money, I know nothing about you, you're not a true friend, just fuck off. And then of course the two go a little while without seeing each other, and then, Tommy runs into Greg again, Tommy's like, hey, everything, filming, production, it's all been done for The Room. I'm having this premiere soon. I'd really love you to come with me. So the two of them go to the premiere. They see that everyone involved in the movie has also gone to it. And the movie has a very large turnout. Tommy and Greg, they're very excited to see their movie go underway, to be shown to everybody. And yeah, everyone sees The Room and it's terrible. And what I love seeing is the audience reactions. For about the first half of the movie, you want to say, it's them like just in complete awe at how awful it is. But it reaches a point they just all start laughing their asses off to the movie because, you know, it's so poorly acted, the writing is terrible, the story doesn't make any sense. Even the actors and the crew, they're watching the movie, they're watching their own performances and they're busting guts over it. But of course, Tommy Wiseau, you know, he's seen all these reactions, he's seen people laughing at this project that he was so passionate about, that he worked so hard over. And, you know, he's so hurt by it. At one point, he has to leave the theater. But what I love is Greg in this moment, he goes after Tom and he tells him, it's like, look, I know how you feel. I know you're disappointed that this didn't turn out like we hoped. But listen to the people in that movie theater right now. They are laughing their asses off. They are having a great time with this movie. They're loving it. This is what going to the movies is all about. People going to enjoy themselves. Don't you think we accomplished something in that? You know, it gives Tommy Wiseau that little heartfelt speech, and he is starting to think to himself, yeah, they are having a good time with my movie, aren't they? And, you know, the room then ends, and the theater just erupts in thunderous applause, and, you know, Tommy comes, you know, running back out onto the stage, you know, all enthusiastic and energetic. He's like, yeah, my movie was funny, it was comedy, you all love it, right? It was meant to be comedy. And yeah, we all know in recent years that it definitely wasn't intended to be a comedy. That was an attempt to be something dramatic, but it wasn't. So all in all, The Disaster Artist was so awesome. James Franco gives the best performance of his career since 127 Hours. He better be up for an Oscar this year. I'm watching you, Academy. James Franco and Dave Franco, they killed it together. You really bought their friendship, and maybe it helps because they're brothers in real life, but it doesn't change the fact that they both did a great job together in this movie. The supporting cast did a really good job. There's a surprising amount of famous people in this movie. It was definitely something nice to see. The writing in this movie is comedy gold. The story itself is amazing to truly see the project these guys took on to make something that meant a lot to them. It's a story about friendship, it's a story about hope, it's a story about conquering your dreams. This movie actually makes me want to now go out of my way to see The Room just so I can watch it now, and now that I've seen The Disaster Artist and I saw the work that went into it, I can be like, oh, I remember that. Yep, they made that scene. Oh, that's even funnier now. And then I could go back and watch The Disaster Artist and I could be more keyed in on some of the things that were in the movie that, you know, fans of The Room were more keyed in on. In the end, you all know I'm a huge sucker for comedies. I love to laugh. I love when a movie can make me laugh. And this is by far and away the funniest movie I've seen this year. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.